I'd like to call to order our City Council meeting, regular meeting Tuesday, September 19th, 2023. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Motion to approve the agenda.
Can we have a roll call first?
Sure.
Thank you.
Goodchild.
Yep.
Donlin. Wick.
Yes.
Sturgeon.
Yes.
Bruns.
Yes.
Motion to approve the agenda?
I have a motion. Is there a second to approve the agenda?
Not for me.
Okay. I have a motion and a second to approve the agenda. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Those opposed?
Aye.
Motion carried. I'd like to welcome everybody today to the meeting. Have a nice crowd today, and welcome everyone on TV watching there. We start our meeting today with a hearing. It's for the 2023 Southview Industrial Park project. At the September 5, 2023 meeting, the council set this as a date and time to hear public comments on plans, specifications, form of contract, and estimate cost for the 2023 Southview Industrial Park project. The project consists of the installation of sanitary, water, storm sewer, and the paving of 34th Street Southwest and 22nd Avenue Southwest. I open the hearing and ask if there are any written or oral comments on the project. Is there anyone in the audience commenting on the Southview Industrial Park project? Seeing none, I'm going to close the meeting, and time for receiving comments is closed. The administration recommends council approve the project with the following schedule. October 11, 2023, bids due at 10 a.m. October 17, 2023, award the bids. And July 1st, 2024 as a completion date. The financial estimate for the project is $2,200,000 to be funded with tax increment financing or TIF. Any comments on the project? Jason, anything?
I have none.
Council, anything?
I'll make a motion to approve Resolution 2339 on plan specs, form of contract, and estimate of cost for the 2023 Southview Industrial Park project.
Do I have a second?
Second.
I have a motion and a second to adopt resolution number 2339 on plan specifications, form of contract, and estimate of cost for the 2023 Southview Industrial Park project. Can I have a roll call, please?
Bruns.
Yes.
Wick.
Yes.
Goodchild.
Yes.
Sturgeon.
Yes.
Donlin.
Yes.
Motion carried. Thank you. Next, we are to the part of the meeting of general discussion. Are there any citizens here today who would like to approach the podium and address any concerns or comments that you might have for the city? Remember, we cannot act on anything today if you have comments. Seeing no one approach the podium, do we have any thumbs up awards? Mark.
Yes, I have three actually. The first one is to the CERT team for the demonstration of the Bearcat and their tactics on how they get into a building where the suspect will not come out willing. That was really an interesting demonstration. The second one is to Wiseye and for their Oktoberfest this weekend. The third one is to Team Engage and all the volunteers, sponsors, donors that put on a really good concert. It was a great time at the Olson Bash.
Good. Thank you. Brian, do you have any?
Okay.
I have two. I'd like to welcome the new face to the podium, Joe Money. He is a new Finance and Human Resources Director. Just started his second day. He had so much fun the first day. He came back today. He was so excited. So, welcome, and I'll give you an opportunity when we get to you in the meeting. You can express anything you'd like at that time. And the second one would be for the Northwest Iowa College Golf Tournament, which is wrapping up this afternoon as we speak. I have an opportunity to work there this morning. Mike looks like he does because he worked there as well. But to Dan Gray and his staff, to Brian Schultz and his staff, again, we had a great representation for Lamar's, and the golfers that attend are a great group of kids, so thumbs up to them. Clark?
Yeah, I agree with Mark Sturgeon on all of his. I didn't go to the tactical thing. I had something else going on, but yeah, what a neat event downtown Saturday night, and thanks to all those sponsors that fund that thing. It was a really good time. And then, of course, the golf thing. I've heard quite a few compliments about just having it, so I think it's definitely worth a thumbs up.
Mike?
In addition to this morning, I worked all day yesterday. When I say all day, I mean all day yesterday. And one other aspect of it I wanted to bring up was the notion of profound goodwill that comes from the golfers, the coaches, and family members, and that came to be gallery spectators to watch the golf. Everyone was as impressed about our effort to host and not just the event, but the living quarters and everything like that for everyone. They go to a dozen or more, each of these teams go to a dozen or more events, and nothing tops what we provide here.
Yeah.
So wow, I think therefore that the support that this council provided to the effort was well invested in what we're doing.
Thank you, Mike.
Excuse me, Mayor Pro Tem?
Yes.
I did have a fourth one, I apologize. A thank you and a thumbs up to Shields for installing a bike repair station out at the AgriVision trailhead on our trail. It's a stand with tools and air pump and all that.
Those are
It's
nice.
permanently mounted.
Very well, good. Thank you, Mike. Anything else, Clark?
No.
Then we move on to consent items. All items under consent agenda will be enacted by one motion. There will be no separate discussion on those items unless a request is made prior to the time the council votes on the motion. Today we have 5. Approval of the September 5, 2023 regular meeting minutes. A list of bills for period ending 9/15/23. Monthly financial statement for August 2023. A new 5-day liquor license to Bachers. And Plywood Trail Phase 1B change order number 2. Do you have any questions on any of those that anybody wants to talk about? Seeing none, then I would consider a motion.
Motion to adopt consent items 1 through 5. And or approve, any other words you need?
Second.
All right.
I have a motion and a second to approve consent items 1 through 5. All those in favor say aye.
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 Those opposed, the same. Motion carried. All right, we moved on to action items. Action item 1, Parks and Recreation Committee appointments. The mayor is recommending the following individuals be appointed to the Parks and Recreation Committee. We have 5. Tom Hanson to a 1-year term, expiration in 2024, December 31st. Beth Raymond to a 2-year term, expiring in 25. Patty Sitzman to a 2-year term, the same tenure. Tammy Sutledge, 3-year term to expire at 2026, and Jason Wheeland, another 3-year term that will expire on December 31st of 2026. Any questions on any of those?
Tammy
Satel.
Satel, I thought it was.
Satel, sorry.
Any sense of how, if these were weeded out from what size pool of folks were,
Good question.
yeah.
Do you know,
I
Dave?
don't know. Rob didn't say.
Rob did not mention to me either.
If it was 10 or 50, it might be interesting to know someday.
Yeah, I don't know.
Is there any indication which council members would be on that? I don't see it on the
I
list.
did not see it on that list as well.
We'll have to determine that.
I thought it was gonna be community services.
I think that's where they were gonna start.
That's what, at least we talked about it, but I don't know if anything definitive was decided.
Okay.
And I truthfully think, I'm guessing it's a committee, volunteers are welcome. I'm guessing, you know.
Yeah.
We can look at that. We can look at it. I don't know when their first meeting's gonna be yet, but
And is there any indication of if someone would be the chair of that committee?
That's what they'll discuss at their first meeting, when they're gonna have meetings, who's gonna chair it, who's gonna take the notes.
Our neighbor covers rock.
Motion to appoint Tom Hanson, Beth Raymond, Patty Sitzman, Tammy Sattel, and Jason Whelan to the Parks and Recreation Committee.
Second.
I have a motion and a second to appoint Tom Hanson, Beth Raymond, Patty Sitzman, Tammy Sattel, and Jason Whelan to the Parks and Recreation Committee. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Those opposed, same. Motion carried. Thank you. Our second action item is the Schuster Industrial Park final plat. On September 5th, 2023, the Planning and Zoning Commission approved the final plat of Schuster Industrial Park. Attached is the final plat consisting of 3 lots. The recommendation of the Administration and Planning and Zoning Committee is to recommend council approval. Any questions, concerns on that?
I think the only thing that we had talked about, and Jason, was how the sewer lines are gonna get to them lots, and we were not gonna decide that till we know what businesses may go there and everything, so.
Okay.
But there is access to sewer and gas and water, all that out there. so-
that's right, and the sewer will have to come from Lincoln.
so. Other than that, moving forward to the building, and this thing's a good project.
Very good. I would entertain a motion.
Motion to adopt resolution number 2340, approving the final plat of Schuster Industrial Park.
Second.
I have a motion and a second to adopt resolution 2340 approving the final plat of Schuster Industrial Park. Can I have a roll call, please?
Shellman,
Yes.
Wick,
Yes.
Bruns,
Yes.
Fairchild,
Yes.
Sturgeon,
Yes.
Motion carried. Thank you.
Okay.
Thank you, Steve.
Thank you.
Action item 3, description of the 2023 Southview Industrial Park Project Engineering Agreement Amendment. Attached is amendment number 1 to the professional services agreement approved on November 1st, 2022 for the 2023 Southview Industrial Park Project. With this amendment, JEO Consulting Group will provide services through construction. The administration is recommending the council approve amendment number 1. The $110,000 fee is to be paid out of the Industrial Park Fund. Anything to that?
No, unless Baylor wants to talk.
I do not. I'm just here to answer questions. I'm Baylor Bastian with JEO.
I don't think he's charging us. Are you charging us for mileage?
No, I'm not.
Okay.
No.
I think he was joking.
Some people joke, some people don't about that.
Maybe not. Any questions of Bailey? All right, then I would entertain a motion.
Motion to approve amendment number 1 to agreement of professional services with JEO Consulting Group for the 23 Southview Industrial Park project in the amount of $110,000.
I have a motion, do I have a second?
Second.
I have a motion and a second from Brian. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Those opposed, the same. Motion carried. Thank you, everyone. Moving on to discussion. Jason, now that you have your voice and you're feeling well.
Yeah, I don't want to talk a whole lot though. Shirley, you want to go first?
We'll do Shirley first.
All right.
So as per the ordinance that we just all reviewed and updated, the libraries to give an annual report within 90 days of the close of the fiscal year. So that would have been at the end of, June 30th. And we need to do our annual survey for the state library, which I believe Jason distributed to everybody, the, multi-page, I don't know if it's 27 pages or what, of all the questions that we answer for the state library. So I just took that and I pulled out some highlights, out of all of the different questions on there. What do I think maybe the highlights would they be? And if I was just gonna pick out a couple of things that I think were special about this year, we did start STEM programming at the library. We received several items from the Governor's Council on STEM programming, and so we wrote a grant and received B-bots and Cubetos and snap circuits. We use those in programs, and we've also made them available for people to check out and use at home. And we have 7 of those packs that are specifically STEM, and they've been checked out 55 times since they've been put in. With a 3-week checkout, that's doing really well for us. And then I think, for those of you who've maybe been around a little longer, the Plymouth County Library Trustee event was a pretty big accomplishment. We had a meeting in May, and we had representatives from 3 different Plymouth County libraries. We had representatives from Cherokee and Sioux County there too. So it was the first one that I know of that's been done, and it was nice that it was successful. And a lot of credit goes to Pam Jennery and our trustees here for making that work. And then finally, we were here in November of 2022 as we wrapped up our space needs assessment that we received $3,000 through the state library. It was actually federal funding, but it got allocated through the state library. So we had the space needs consultant come on, work with us through some different programming tools that they have to look at what we would need for a future library at some point. So those are some of the highlights. I'd be happy to take questions.
I'm scared to ask such a basic question, Shirley, but you mentioned state library a couple times.
Sure.
Is that like a place?
It is, yeah.
Oh.
Yeah.
Where is it?
Well, there's a state librarian who is Michael Scott, and it's an office in Des Moines. They do have an actual library that they use mostly to support governmental departments, but the end user can go in there too. And under the umbrella of the state library is also the state law library, which is quite an ornate facility, and that's just off of the legislative rooms, but it's at the state capitol, the state law library. And you may have been there. It's really ornate and beautiful. If you ever get a chance to get down there,
Okay.
yeah, it gets used for a lot of pictures because of it's such a special, unique looking place.
We should
Yeah.
probably schedule a fact-finding.
We should.
Go down to check
Right,
out.
right. Yes,
I've seen
Other states have libraries too we could check out.
we do, yeah. I would say of the state libraries that I've been with, Iowa has a pretty well-organized, well-serviced state library. Minnesota, on the other hand, has some state officials, but that is more of dispersed power. They have a regional system. So our state library is a really well-organized and serves the librarians very well, I would say.
Oh, good, okay.
Yeah.
Good for trivia night.
Any other questions from Charlotte?
Thank you, Shirley.
Okay, thank you.
Thanks. Now, Chase.
All right, now. I believe I sent something out earlier. I think I did, maybe I did it to you guys. Highway 3 rail. Latest we heard is October 2nd, so this is when they'll start that and the future will go into effect. Plymouth Street Water, that project, I believe the water is for the most part done. Now they're working on some storm sewer work. And then from there, it's repouring the road back. So I would assume a couple more weeks on that. Plywood Trail, I went by there yesterday. They're still installing, it's pretty much graded, at least rough graded. It appears they're putting some storm sewer, or have been, and continuing to put some storm sewer pipe in. That'll be underneath the trail. As far as I know, that thing is still on schedule. I believe the last we had heard, maybe Mark, was,
End of October
yeah, for paving.
to be done.
And that gets into the next project, because it's the same contractor. It's the 7th Avenue K-49 project. That is the joint project with the county down to C-38. They're supposed to be installing the asphalt layer today, which is the bond breaker between existing and new. That's supposed to be today, and then hope to pave the entire stretch in 2 weeks. So, and that's Goverson Smith, so I'm assuming once they get that done, even though I don't know if it's the same contractor, but I think they're gonna use the same concrete plant, because they provide their own. So I'm assuming they're gonna use the same plant for the trail also. If you haven't been by West Floyd Park, Public Facilities continues to work on that playground out there.
Looks great.
I
Very
think
good.
they're waiting for, it's gonna be specialized, that's gonna do the surface out there, so.
Is there any concern about youngsters climbing into the trees in the center of the jungle gym?
Oh, really? I don't-
I object, it's
There's
part
some
of the
branches.
playground
It's
equipment.
a
but there are-
manufactured tree.
There are
Oh.
manufactured trees coming
I
out.
thought the same thing.
Oh, I guess I haven't paid attention.
You might
No.
look at that. Isn't that what trees are for? Okay.
When I was a kid.
And the last thing, also specialized, is going to, if you've driven Business Highway 75 from Highway 3 to 4th Street, you'll notice some white painted marks that Scott Knipe did. Specialized Concrete's gonna start doing some repairs again. on
Where
that
at?
road.
Where at?
From Highway 3 to 4th Street.
Going south?
So Taco John's to
On the northbound lane?
I think it's throughout the whole thing, both sides.
Okay, cause that was on my list.
Both sides.
Are they gonna do the